Just as the Indians blended their foods into things of beauty, we can use the same foods that we get from the Native American garden to also be a thing of beauty. You can see we have lots of different colors here, and we're going to combine some of the foods that are native to the Americas. Now, peppers, of course, I think no one probably eats a meal anymore if they don't have corn involved in some way, either corn oil or corn starch or corn meal or corn itself in its variety of colors and flavors, or corn flakes even at breakfast time. You also have high fructose corn syrup when you go about drinking pop and a lot of other beverages. So corn has become very ingrained into our diet. Peppers have also become ingrained. Tomatoes, I don't think any of us would ever eat an Italian meal anymore without expecting tomatoes there. So you can see how the foods from the Americas have spread throughout the world and been combined into other cultures. We're going to take some foods that would have probably been used by the colonists when they first came to this part of the country as well as to the eastern part of the country and combine them into one of the dishes that the Indians that met the colonists taught them how to use so that they could use the foods that were native here and help them survive throughout the year. Now, first of all, we're going to use a cup of water, and to that we're going to add 1 green pepper that we've chopped up and 1 onion. Now, this one was fairly large, but this is kind of a vegetable mixture, so if you want to use it all or less, if you have a smaller onion, that's no problem. Just use what you have from that standpoint. Then we have about 2 cups of corn, more or less, that we're going to add to this. Now, this dish would have probably been called succotash for a lot of you, and you probably grew up not liking succotash very well because it seems to have an ingredient that for some reason kids find particularly abhorrent. And I'm not sure why, but I've also discovered that a lot of adults feel the same way, and that particular ingredient is lima beans. Well, there's absolutely no reason that you have to use just lima beans in this dish, and we're going to use kidney beans to make it not only more colorful, but also something that I think a lot of people today would find a little bit more acceptable. Now, we simply need to stir these together. Now, I'm using canned lima beans today and frozen corn. You can use fresh of either if you have them. If you choose to go ahead and use lima beans, let your imagination work a little bit so that you get the colors that will be most attractive on your plate. For instance, this called for a green pepper, but if I was using lima beans, one of the things that I think I would recommend would be to use a red bell pepper to add extra color. Or you might want to use red and orange. Another benefit to that is that the red bell pepper is actually higher in vitamin A and higher in vitamin C than the green one is. This we then put a lid on and let it simmer for about 20 minutes, and it will basically be ready at that point. Here's an example of the finished product that I made ahead of time with lima beans instead of the kidney beans. And you can see that there's quite a bit of difference. This is a very high fiber dish because of the bean content, the fiber content of the beans, as well as the corn content. It's also high in vitamin C and vitamin A or beta-carotene. Now, additionally, this has no fat until we add fat to it. Now, Indians way back when would have added bear grease to it. However, we were fresh out of bear this week, so I've done one of the other alternatives that I found in a Native American cookbook, and that was to make a paste out of nuts or seeds. And you can use either sunflower seeds, pecans, walnuts, whichever kind of seed or nut you have, because those are very high in fat themselves. You put them in a blender and just blend them until they turn into a paste. Sometimes if you need to, you can add a little bit of honey. If you need to get your blender working a little bit better, you can also add a little bit of vegetable oil. But these are also already high in fat, so that they would be used as we would probably use butter or olive oil today. This is a fun dish to make. It's particularly good to make with the kids as they have been involved in working with the Native American garden in your own yard. For Oklahoma Gardening, this is Barbara Brown.